Y'all, this has to be one of the craziest things I've ever done. I'm currently driving my Colorado 2.5 hours away from my house up past Knoxville, Tennessee to pick up a motorcycle, which in and of itself, that's not that crazy, but it feels a little nuts when you have 3 other bikes in the garage. So why am I doing this? My girlfriend and I went riding last weekend, and we went out on the BMW R9T and enjoyed a lovely day out there. The weather was great. It was a little chilly, but generally very, very good. And as a result of that ride, she got the bug. And by bug, I mean she wants to learn to ride a motorcycle. And she's not even that good of a bicycle rider, so that makes me very, very nervous. And initially, I thought, well, I'll just get her a Grom. She's very short. She's 5'3", which I don't know, maybe that's not very short for a woman, but she's short compared to me. And I thought a Honda Grom would be a great choice for her to learn to ride a motorcycle because Groms are incredibly forgiving bikes. And then I remembered that starting out on the street, at least in my opinion, is a incredibly, incredibly bad idea. If you're looking at starting out riding a motorcycle and you want to get something and you want to ride it on the street, good luck. You're probably going to die. I mean, maybe not, but it's going to be much more risky than if you started riding in a very controlled, mild off-road environment. And I'm not talking about double loops and tabletops. I'm talking about forest roads where you don't have a lot of traffic that's going to turn left in front of you or be drunk driving the opposite direction or any of the other incredibly awful ways to get hit by a large four-wheel vehicle. So because I think a beginning motorcycle rider should start off-road and maybe even stay off-road forever at this point, I started looking into dual sports. And, I've got a Suzuki DR650, but there's no way a 5'3" tall, petite woman is going to be able to handle a tall DR650 with any kind of confidence. And I thought, well, maybe I can just go down to like a Honda XR150, but heck, those things are still 32-inch plus tall seats. I mean, they're very, very tall bikes. And I'm thinking, what do I do? How do I get this woman a dual sport that she can flat foot or at least get her toes down on each side? And I remembered the answer is the Yamaha TW200. So that's what I'm doing. I'm driving today to go pick up a TW200, a fat-tired dual sport bike that I think is somewhat bigger than a Grom. I don't know. I've never actually seen one in real life, but I was watching Dork in the Road, and he seemed to really love this thing in gravel road type situations, which is the kind of situations that we'll be in, where we'll have part gravel and part washed out roads. Nothing too gnarly. We're not going to be riding any single track, but we just need something that she can get her feet down and something that's not too heavy and something that's not too scary to ride. And I think a Yamaha TW200 is going to be the perfect bike for her. So yeah, I'm excited to see one of these in real life, and I'm about 12 minutes away from this guy's house. Hopefully the bike shows well and I can get a fair deal on it. Let's cross our fingers and find out. So I did the thing. I showed up at the seller's house and checked the bike out, and everything is pretty good. I went for a test ride, and I always test ride my motorcycles before I buy them. And I did notice a couple of things that I'll need to address. First is the front brake. This thing is pretty soft, so that's not great. It looks like the brake fluid is low. I don't see any leaks though, so I'm going to go ahead and flush and bleed the brakes, get new fluid in there, and I'll do a video about that. But they work enough for riding off-road. They're just not enough to make a very quick stop. Maybe it's just the fact that this has a small single disc brake here on the front. Maybe it's some other functional problem. TBD. The other thing I noticed when I test rode the bike was the idle was wrong. Pretty easy to adjust the carb right here. A lot easier than it is to adjust the carb on the DR650. So I'm really happy about that. I was able to fix that on the spot. Condition-wise, I would say the bike is 7 out of 10 for a 9-year-old dual sport. We got some boo-boos. The biggest boo-boos that we have are most noticeable here on the headlight cowl. I'll give you guys a close-up. You've got this faded area and some scratches here. You've got some more scratches here. Front fenders had a few licks, no big deal. I'm going to replace it anyway with a high front fender, probably in white, because I think this bike with this color scheme will look better with a white front fender. The frame of the bike has a little superficial corrosion. It's not bad. It's mainly in here by the swing arm where water or mud may have pooled up. It is very minimal. These guards by the foot pegs have a little bit. You know, your feet or your boots rub on these things, it's going to wear the finish off. So I'm going to clean those up and refinish these just to prevent any further corrosion, but you could just leave them and that would be fine too. This winter, when I swap the tires out on this bike, I'll take that as an opportunity to get in there and clean up what little superficial corrosion there is and put some fresh silver paint on the frame to prevent it from getting any worse. The seat on this bike, it looks 9 years old. You know, these bikes are outside a lot. They're exposed to a lot of petroleum products, and it's breaking down. $40 or so will get me a new seat cover that I can put on myself, and that should look a lot better after I do that. I'm also missing the front left mirror. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I see that a lot on these bikes. The girlfriend wants one, so I'm going to try to find some aftermarket mirrors to replace both sides with, and that'll sort that out. The blinkers, you can see they've had a few licks, no big deal. Again, these bikes are using the wood, so stuff happens, but more interesting than that, these forks have Y168 written on them. I have no idea what that means. If there's any significance to a TW200 and you know what that means, let me know in the comments. I have no freaking clue. But the good news is the previous owner did address the fork seals that had started to leak, and these are nice and dry, so that's ready to go. The engine has a few scratches on the case, but it's in pretty good condition. There's a scratchy scratch right there. The tank has no dings. It does have a few scratches. There's one right here that I'll give you guys a close-up of, but overall the tank's in really good shape, and you know, it's common to see some dings on these tanks, so I'm really happy that the tank is in good shape, because dings on tanks just drive me crazy. Moving on to the tires on my used TW200, this bike originally came shod with Bridgestone trail wings. Those are 3 words that will send shivers up the spine of every DR650 rider on the globe. And yeah, that's what this bike still has. And I'm concerned that these might actually be the original tires that came on the bike from the factory. That's 9-year-old rubber. Now this bike will be primarily ridden off-road, if not completely ridden on dirt roads, if you will, so maybe not true off-road. And the tires are in pretty decent shape, although they show a fair amount of wear. I think it's going to be good enough to finish out this year, even though we're in the beginning of the year, because again, I'm not riding on the pavement. If I was riding this on the pavement, or my girlfriend was riding this on the pavement, I would be super concerned about the age of the tire, but in this case, I think I'm just concerned about getting a flat. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to do a ride in this video because I want to get the bike serviced first, get the brake fluids flushed, get the oil changed and whatnot, and then once I get that done, I'll take the bike around the backyard and around the neighborhood and do a little bit of a first ride video. Maybe if I'm ambitious, I'll put it in the back of the truck and take it up to the National Forest and do the first ride video there. Let me know what you want me to do. Put it in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, y'all, have fun outside, enjoy this wonderful weather, and ride safe.